Today I wanted to talk a little bit more about how to use the Dirk as a throwing projectile and the combat situation we could use it in. So obviously when I fight someone, I mean he has a sword and I has a Dirk. Obviously this is a very desperate move to use my Dirk to throw it, because if I miss or if I don't hit it correctly, then of course I'm pretty much, have a problem. If I'm very, very desperate and I don't want to fight anyway, then maybe I can throw this as a distraction and run away. But as I said, a very, very desperate move depending on the situation. So let's talk a little bit about more of a combat situation where I could deploy that to be used as a technique. We know that the Highlanders also fought with a broadsword and a Dirk as a parry tool. So like an emergency charge. Obviously, as I said in many other videos, I will not use this as a parry dagger in this way and parry, because my hand is of course in danger. For that I have real basket-hilted parry daggers. But if I manage to produce my Dirk as an offhand tool, then I could use it in a situation against the cut number 1, use it here to take over the control and then cut. And also, if I cut and miss, he slips and counters to my head. This is better than nothing. Okay, so I have this in between my head and his nasty sharp blade. So talking about throwing it. If I have, for example, more than one opponent, so there's another guy over there, and they want to fight me, and then I might pull out my dagger and throw this into the direction of one guy so he's distracted, or maybe I can kill him with it, and then I might attack him. Of course, I could also say, no, I don't throw it away, not yet, because I want to have this against the other guy. If I attack it here and he comes from there, I might have kind of a protection. So it depends on what you want to do against more than one opponent. Against only one opponent, like a duel situation. Now, of course, if I just turn my Dirk this way around, he might get suspicious and knowing that there's something coming, because he saw my videos that I throw the Dirk like that. And of course, I have to train this with my left hand. Maybe I manage to distract him here with cuts and we are fighting. And then maybe I manage sneakily, like we do it with Dirk, to turn my blade around into the knife grip. And then when he is maybe going to a hanging guard or something like that, then I might get the chance to throw the Dirk. Okay, when I have a second weapon. Of course, the more sneaky option, but you have to train this, and I have to train this still. Just in theory, I might be able to do an underhand throw. And I have to say I underestimated the power of underhand throws. I still think an overhand throw has more power, but I think an underhand throw has much more power than you think, if you do it correctly. I already saw some videos and was quite impressed how much power you can get with an underhand throw. And the guys doing that, they do kind of really non-telegraphic motions, because if I turn this and throw, this is a wide, big motion. So this here is a quick motion from the hip, just like, a gunslinger's throw. Like, okay, I don't draw my revolver, I throw my bowie knife in surprise. So I will train this in future more. But again, I just wanted to address the people who said, yeah, but you would not throw your Dirk, you would not throw it away. No, of course not as my first reaction. Oh, an enemy! I throw the only weapon away I have. No, of course not. But depending on the situation, I could do it. Okay? I could do it, and we know, for example, from some sources, other sources, not Scottish sources, but for example, Paulus Hector Meyer has in his fencing manual, where they fight with basket-hilted side swords or rapiers, he has a technique. I will put a link down below to the channel of a fencing friend who shows 2 different variations of the Paulus Hector Meyer parry dagger throw, where you hold the parry dagger already like this, and they show a throw from close distance which could be overhand, but it could also be underhand. Okay, so I will put the link down below in the video description so you can check it. Okay, talking about how dangerous is a dirk that you throw. Just imagine this is a blunt training dirk made of steel with a brass pommel and a wooden handle. It's not even the heaviest dirk I had in my hands yet, but it's heavy enough. I mean, just imagine that I throw this with full force into your direction and it's not even sharp. And you don't have a fencing mask, you don't have protective gear, you're only standing there, maybe with your sword, maybe not. I mean, would you like to have this thrown into your... No, obviously. And if I think about getting this with a pommel into my face, even though it might not kill me, it's a distraction. And I realized in sparring, for example, people, even if they know Heiko might throw his dirk or another tool, they don't expect it and they still flinch for a moment. So you even don't have to throw it, it's just this motion here, forceful enough to threaten them, makes them flinch. It's a natural reaction, even if you know that I might maybe throw the dirk. Okay? So this is one of many possibilities to use the dirk in the combat situation. And what I also wanted to address is some said, and I think it's quite a good thought, that because of the quite small handle of the dirk, you might only throw it with a blade, holding it on the blade. So what sometimes is called a half spin. I also trained that. I have to say I'm not very good with a half spin. I don't like it. However, if I go back to my combat situation, if I don't want to telegraph my intentions by turning the dagger here sneakily and then throw it like this, how can I manage when I'm fighting without losing my dagger to, grab it like this without maybe even cutting myself? Okay, yes, I know if I am Arya from Game of Thrones, I would do kind of a flipping motion, but I would not risk it, okay? I already lost my dirk several times by trying to switch the grip, so I would not dare to switch to this and throw this in this. This is good for target practice, it is a nice throw. Talking about combat situation with a Highland dirk and when I have a broadsword, because as many of you mentioned already, if I don't have a second weapon, I should not throw away the only weapon I have. I totally agree with that, I never said anything different to that. So in the combat situation, going to this half spin is way too much risk. So better throwing underhand or sneakily turning and throwing overhand, in my opinion. I will experiment with left-handed throws in future, especially with underhand throws from this situation. And of course we will do some sparring and training and whatnot. And thanks for watching, see you in the next video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. But please don't tell me again that there is no written proof that the Highlanders did throw the dirk. We have at least one proof, I mentioned it several times. Archibald MacGregor's lecture on the art of defense from 1791. He says the Highlanders throw the dirk and they are good at it. Might be the only source I have so far, but it is enough source material to start practicing to throw the dirk. Just my opinion. Let me know what you think about it.